One of the most difficult thing for Spanish learner is to understand when to use the verb to be. You know that in Spanish, the verb to be can be either ser or estar. Okay. So both verbs means to be, but they're used differently. Okay. You use, for example, the verb ser for identity. Like, for example, if I want to express my name, or I want to say my name, I'll use the verb to be, ser, conjugated, of course, in present tense. And I will say, yo soy. Soy is the verb ser conjugated in first person present tense. Yo soy, or I can say soy. Soy Brenda. Soy Carlos. Soy Juan. Okay? Now, that same verb, if you're gonna describe the name or you're gonna say the name of another person, you can say, ella es Juana. Él es Javier. Okay, so you see those examples in there. We're using the verb to be ser, okay? And when you're using it with él or ella, we say es, okay? Now, if you're using it with tú, and we're just using the singular nouns, the singular pronouns now, okay? If you're using it with tú, it would be tú eres. Okay, so let's practice. Yo soy, tú eres, él, ella, or usted, that will be the formal you, es. Okay, so we also use it for origin. Okay, if you want to say where I'm from or where someone else is from, then you can use the verb to be too. Okay, we ser. Okay, so I will say yo soy de Puerto Rico. Yo soy de México. Yo soy de Cuba. Yo soy de Venezuela. These are examples, okay? Now, if remember, tú eres, tú. What is tú eres? You are, ¿verdad? Okay, so we will be tú eres de. Tú eres de Estados Unidos. Tú eres de Canadá. Tú eres de Colombia. See, you see those examples there? Okay, now remember, you will use the verb to be ser to describe where you're from or where someone else is from. Soy de. Okay, so now we also use it for characteristics. Like if I want to describe something, how it is, we also use it. Like for example, today, this one is kind of funny because I'm going to explain you when to use either one or another. Usually, we describe the sky as blue, right? So we will say, el cielo es azul. Why? Because we also use es, not only for él, ella, or usted. We also use it for non-living things, okay? So I will say, el cielo es azul. And you might be thinking right now, oh, wait, but I have heard people saying el cielo está azul. Okay, that is different because in there I'm describing a temporary condition. What I'm saying in there is that like right now the sky is blue. Okay, maybe later it won't be blue. Okay, so since this is a temporary condition, I'm using the verb estar in there. Okay. Now, estar, let's talk about estar. Estar is for temporary things. Okay, you can use it for example, location. If you want to say that you are in the classroom, okay, you will say, I am in the classroom, right? Yo estoy. So you see, ends in oy too, but it's estoy. It's not soy, is estoy, okay? Now, for tú, we say está, estás, okay? And for él, ella, usted, or a non-living thing, we will say está, okay? Again, yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella, usted está, okay? Now, example, estoy en la fiesta. Okay, I am in the party, you see? In English, it's easier, right? Because you just use the verb to be for everything. But we have two different ones. Okay, we also use it for feelings, to describe how we feel. The verb estar. Okay, if I am tired, I will say estoy cansada. Well, in there, we just have the genders, right? I'm a girl, I will say cansada instead of cansado. But if you're a boy, you will say cansado. If I want to describe that Carlos is bored, I will say Carlos está aburrido. Aburrido. Okay? Now, if I want to say, describe that she is sick, right? I want to say that she is sick. I was going to say thick, and that's something else. She is sick will be ella está enferma. Okay, you see that in there? Okay, so far we use the verb estar for location, feelings. Now, let's talk about temporary conditions as the one that I gave you when I say el cielo está azul. Okay? Let's say that temporary conditions are things that change, that might change. Right now it's like this, tomorrow can be different. Okay? So let's say that you want to describe the coffee. Okay? So you can say el café. I have a mix of English and Spanish. El café está caliente. Okay? Like, let's say, for example, that you go to Starbucks or any other place and they give you coffee and they might warn you, el café está caliente. Like right now, the coffee is hot. Okay? But maybe later you start talking with your friends, blah, 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 and then the condition of that coffee changes, right? Changed to cold. So that means that, you see, the coffee, when we describe it as hot, can change to cold too. So that's why we use estar. Like right now it's like that. Think about that, okay? Right now, this is like this. That's why allocation, when you're using it as allocation, since you can change locations, you can change from one location to another, we use the verb estar in there. With feelings, you can be feeling like that now, maybe sad, triste, but maybe tomorrow you're cheerful, right? So we use the verb estar in there for feelings too, because the feelings can change, okay? And the same thing happen with the rest, okay? So remember, if it's something that won't change, like your name, where you from, and some characteristic of a specific thing, okay, or person, look at this one. Brenda es alegre. That's right. I try to be happy all the time. Brenda es alegre. I'm a happy person. But if I say Brenda is happy right now, if I want to describe that right now, Brenda is like that, I will say Brenda está alegre o está feliz. Okay? So I'm using estar in there. So I hope that this helps you to understand when to use either the verb ser or the verb estar. Okay? Adios.